My next guest is one of the best jerseys you'll ever find. I love that Vancouver Grizzlies jersey. Just mentioned that off the top, but he got a big win a few weeks back at UFC Kansas City, taking out Giga Chikadze. Of course, I'm talking to David Onama here on the program. David, how you doing, man?
Doing good. I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me on here again.
Of course, yeah. Pre-fight, post-fight, it's always good to chat with you, man. And you're in the rankings now, obviously, with that win, number 14th. How nice is that to look on the UFC website and see your name there?
Man, it's amazing. Just getting on like the UFC website, looking up the ranking, see my name on the list, man. I've been waiting for this moment for like years. It's like this is what I always wanted, was to get ranked because I got signed to the UFC, and it took me 2 years to get on that. And it's amazing for me, man. Just being able to see my name on the rankings, it's a dream come true, So
yeah. That's awesome. Let's talk about the fight. I know we're about a week or so removed from it. Looking back, just your overall thoughts on the performance. You got a big win, but I know you can always go back and look at things and areas that maybe you wanted to do a little bit better. What were your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, so after the fight, I went back and watched the film a little bit, and I just felt like everything that I worked on throughout my whole fight camp, it showed out. It showed out last weekend, and the wrestling worked out perfect. My striking, like my range, like my kicks, my teeps, literally everything that we did on fight camp, it all like showed out in the fight. And it was like hard for me to like feel southpaw because that's not my original stance. And like I had to fight for me to win the fight. I had to like stay southpaw. You know what I mean? I couldn't like switch orthodox too much because that's what he wanted me to do. Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't like go to orthodox. I had to stay southpaw, able for me to like, keep the fight going. So it was a hard camp, but we had to do what we had to do. So.
How was the crowd compared to some of your other fights? Obviously, it was in Kansas City. I know you had a lot of fan support going into this one. Were you feeding off that? It certainly looked like it.
No, I wasn't really. I mean, the fan was amazing. Everybody was, there for me. I feel like everybody that came out, like I had all my family out there, like all my fans. So everybody that was out at the fights, like they was there for me. Man, like. I just couldn't get like starstruck, with the fans being there. I just had to stay composed and just kind of just do me, go out there and do what you do best and not, get so worried about the fans, like the fans, family, and everybody being there, so I had to like control that moment,
Yeah. Yeah, keep it laser focused. You got a job to do, and that's win the fight, not get too caught up in that stuff. Anything about Chikadze surprise you at all? You said that sort of everything you trained for was executed in the fight, but was there anything looking back that maybe you weren't expecting?
Nah, I feel like Chikadze came out, I think he had a good camp. He was in shape. Yeah, nothing really surprised me. Like he came out, I feel like he was in good shape. Yeah, man, I knew how he fights, and I feel like everything that I watched on the film, it all came out. How he fight. Like he fought like how he should be fighting. I just feel like he had a good camp throughout the whole like training. He had a good camp. I know he missed weight, but I feel like that didn't really affect him. Like Saturday night, he came out. He was in shape. Cardio was good. He didn't look tired to me, so
yeah,
looked good to me. So
yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Obviously, he missed by 2 pounds or a pound, I should say, going into the fight. Does that, when you hear that, does that change your mind about him as an opponent? Like maybe something went wrong, or you don't even like pay attention to that at all?
I didn't really pay too much attention to it because I missed weight before too. So I don't know what happened, but I think he missed 1 pound. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what happened. I didn't pay too much attention to it because I still was gonna take the fight regardless of what happened.
Of course, yeah.
I did what I had to do, and so yeah, I didn't really pay too much about the weight cut. So I missed weight before too, like I said. So I don't want to be like, well, why you didn't make weight? Because I don't know what his issue is. Like I don't know what's going on with him. So I just.
Did you talk to him after the fight at all? When you guys like backstage after the fight at all?
No, after the fight, he just told me that he was like, "Yo, keep going," and then he messaged me on Instagram. Was like, I think he was like, "All the best, champ. Keep going," something like that. And then I wrote back to him like, "You're a legend. It was an honor, sharing the case with you. All the best for you." So Nah, it
Okay.
was respect between me and him. Nothing disrespectful. You know, he show love, I show love back, and yeah, we
That's how it
kept.
should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get to enjoy yourself after the fight? Like, I know you got to do like media and medicals and all that stuff, but did you get to go enjoy time with your family after the fight?
Uh, yeah. So after the fight, I had to go back to the hotel, get ready, and then come back to like where the after party was. I had an after party.
Oh, cool.
After party at Mosaic, so all my friends, family, and everybody just came out there. So we kind of just hung out. You know, I didn't drink, but I was just I was just hanging out. You know, with friends and family and fans. You know, and yeah, that's all really. Just spent time with them after the fight. So.
Good. Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy yourself. Obviously, a bit of a homecoming for this one, which is great. So the obvious question, you're back in Colorado. When do you want to get that next fight? Ideally, when would you like to return?
I was thinking. I mean, my birthday is June 7th. I think like that's a little bit too soon
Mhm.
because I'm still kind of recovering from a few injuries.
Okay.
So I'm thinking probably July or August.
Okay.
Yeah, probably July or August. Yeah, if not, I'll just kind of just wait and see when they want me back. But I think July, August, I should be good to go.
Yeah, sometime in the summer would make sense. Any cards you're looking at? They got that Louisiana card coming up, Dustin Poirier's card. I think that's end of July. Does that one look good? Or I guess it doesn't matter. It's just more about keeping active, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. You know, wherever they want me, like I say, it doesn't really matter to me. So by that time, I should be healed up by that time. So whoever they give me, I'll be ready for it. So
Any opponents in mind? You're ranked now, so there's a few options as far as names there. I know you're not a guy to like call anyone out or anything, but is there any fights you look at in the division and go, hey, that would be a fun fight?
yeah, I have like three top that I'm looking at right now.
Okay, let's hear them.
I can't tell you who it is, but
Okay. Well, I'm just looking at the rankings now, like who's not booked and everything else. So, well, we can eliminate one of them, right? You're not going to fight your buddy Yusuf Salal there. So take him out of the equation. You've got, Dan Ige, Calvin Kattar, Jean Silva, Josh Emmett. I don't think any of these guys have fights booked. Sterling, you want to be really ambitious. So it's going to be a good name though, right? Because you just beat a good name and now you're in the rankings. This could potentially be one of the biggest years for you in terms of what happens next, right?
yeah, you heard rumors about Josh Emmett or something. You mentioned Josh Emmett. You heard
No,
that?
no, I'm looking at the rankings. I don't know. So I think Josh Emmett would make a lot of sense, and that would be a fun fight for the fans. You guys are both strikers. I think it could work.
Yeah, if that's what the fans wanted to see, then we can make that happen. If
Okay.
not, whoever's in the ranking that wants it. But I got a few names that I really want. I trust you, so I'll probably send you some lists.
Sure. Yeah. We'll figure it out. But let's say you were to fight an Emmett, and that would make sense, right? Josh is, I think he's up there as far as the weight class and his age and all that. He just lost to Lerone Murphy. Like, how would a fight between the two of you go? Because he's still, he's got some power still, even at his age.
Yeah, like I've been watching Josh Emmett for a very long time. Before I got signed to the UFC, been watching him for a long time. I remember when he fought in Austin, Texas, I think like 2, 3 years ago. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm like, damn, I think one day I'm gonna end up fighting Josh Emmett.
Yeah.
And then like after my fight with Giga, everybody was kind of like mentioning like Onama versus Josh Emmett. Like everybody was just tagging me in like the post, and I'm just like, look, man, if that's what the UFC wants, if that's what Sean Shelby wants, then set it up and I'll be ready for it. So I'm not the one that likes to call people out, but if I'm getting tagged on Instagram and Twitter that I think Josh Emmett should be next for you, then whatever you guys want, and whatever you guys want from me that you guys want to see, let's do it. If it's
Well,
Josh
yeah,
Emmett,
I'm looking at the rankings now. Like he's 10, you're 14. Again, again, you can eliminate Yusuf from the equation. That really just leaves you Jean Silva or Dan Ige if we're looking forward, right? So I think Emmett does make some sense with him in that 10 spot. So we'll have to see how that goes. At the top of your division, we had obviously Alex Volkanovski win the vacant title from Diego Lopez. We know Ilia Topuria, at least right now, not coming back down. Is Movsar Evloev the next opponent, do you think? What would you like to see for Volk's title defense as someone who's in the division?
for Volk, man, I don't know. I don't really know if the Lopez should get the rematch or what's that guy's that we just mentioned?
Movsar Evloev, because he beat Lopez, right? That some people even felt like he should have got the shot over Diego Lopez since he already has a win over him. But I think the two names right now that people are looking, I don't think Lopez is going to get a rematch, unfortunately. But I think it's going to be either Movsar Evloev or Yair Rodriguez. Although the only problem with that is we already saw that fight a couple of years ago with Rodriguez and Volk, because Rodriguez is coming off a win over Patricio Pitbull.
I think the UFC should give it to Masvidal just to beat Diego, so that'll be a good match. Give him.
And he's undefeated, right? I know he doesn't have a ton of finishes, but there is that intrigue. Can Volk be the guy to finish him there? I think that makes some sense. And the other name that I believe is going to fight in your division. What do you make of Aaron Pico joining the UFC? Obviously, he was a pretty hyped up prospect in Bellator, and now he's going to be competing in your weight class. By the looks of it, he could compete at 55, but I think 45 is kind of what people are thinking.
Yeah, I watched his last fight against Yair. I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't know. I'm not very a big fan of his. I just don't think he's like, I don't think he's UFC caliber. Like, I don't know, just from watching his fight, I don't know. I just don't think he's like a UFC caliber guy. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see how that who they end up giving him in his debut, because remember, like, Michael Venom Page got Kevin Holland in his UFC debut, Pitbull got Yair Rodriguez, so they're kind of all over the place with the ex Bellator fighters making their debut, right? Which is kind of interesting there. And we spoke about this before, but we don't have a main event for UFC 317. Do you want to see Ilia and Islam, or do you think Ilia should have to fight like maybe like an Oliveira or something? I believe what I'm hearing at the time of recording this is either Islam's going to move up and the title's vacant, or Islam's going to fight Topuria. So which one would you rather see?
I'd rather see Ilia versus Islam, because Ilia 45 as a champion.
Yeah.
He should fight for the belt. You know what I mean? If he wasn't like the champion, then I can see him fighting like maybe guys like Oliveira, but he was the 145 champ. And he gave up the belt, so he went up to 155. So he should fight for a belt, because he pretty much left a champion. So I think him versus Ilia, him versus Islam would be a good matchup.
And I think that's the biggest fight you can make right now, outside of John Jones and Aspinall, which I don't think is going to happen. So to me, that's the next best option. Before we go, a couple things. Your cousin's actually fighting this weekend. I should mention that. How excited are you for to see him compete? Going to be fighting for Throne MMA.
And I'm very excited for Richard. He's put in the work. He had a tough fight camp. So I just felt like he put the work in, and it's finally fight week for him. So. He was with me my fight week. He was with me, helping me with everything, like with the weight cut and everything. So I just feel like he's ready. He's ready for this fight this weekend. So looking forward to it, man. He's definitely gonna pull up a big win this weekend.
Yeah. And that's Richard Dralu, I believe is how you say his last name. He's an amateur fighter still, but obviously looking to make that jump to pro here pretty soon. So we're definitely excited about that. Someone to keep an eye on. And my last question before we get out of here: what do you got planned the rest of the week? Again, you got you just finished this fight. You said your birthday's coming up. Do you have anything planned for your birthday? We still got some time. We're about a month out from your birthday, right?
Yeah, we got a month away from my birthday. So right now I'm just kind of spending time with the family a little bit. With them. I'm kind of healing up a little bit, so I'm gonna take a little bit of time off just to heal a little bit, and then probably take a little trip.
Oh, nice.
A little trip for my birthday. I'm thinking about going to like maybe overseas or something, like the islands, for like a week, and then when I get back, I want to get back to work. So
all business. Gotcha. So you're still in Kansas City right now. I just assumed you were back in Colorado, because I gave you by the way, I got to tell people, when I booked this interview, I gave you times for Colorado, right? So you'd be on Central Time then. So my bad on that. At least we got the right time here. So
I should have told you that. Yeah, but
no, it's all good. No, if anything, I was just making sure that you didn't get confused, because I know the time zones are different. So
got it. It was good.
It's all good to me. All right. Well, David, thanks so much for doing this, man. We're looking forward to what's next. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Nobody really. I just want to thank you, for always having me on here. It's always a pleasure, talking to you. So I want to thank you,